Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to news and live events of different sports. So I kindly ask that you hit the like button and the subscribe button, as that will really help this channel grow. And to ensure you don't skip a beat, click the notification bell as well. That way you can guarantee that you don't miss any of the action. Alright, so let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Adesanya vs Magomedov features the manifestation of a black mamba fighting a guy who seems like he's been born in the wrong era and born in the wrong generation. Where if ever I had to ask you to envision, to think what a Russian pirate would look like, if your answer is not this, I don't think you're trustworthy at all, because you're blatantly lying. Showdown Bullet Magomedov is set to face Michael Venom Page in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Adesanya vs Magomedov. And the reason why this fight has UFC fans frothing from the mouth, in a good way, is due to the fact of how they match up against one another stylistically. Where both fighters, both men's fighting style is predicated on striking. But even with that being said, they differ vastly with their approach to striking. Where Sasha Bullet fights like an old dog with rabies. Fights like a honey badger on meth, like a hobo on bath salts. Where it's just volume all the time. You see kicks the whole time. You see feet flying in the air, fists flying in the air, as if his coach is Quentin Tarantino. And then you see Michael Venom Page and the way he fights, and it's all predicated on timing. Entering whenever he wants to, being able to hit and avoid being hit. But not just that, the way he bounces around like an Energizer bunny and seems to always be one step ahead, as if his coach is Master Uguay. This fight is bound to be fight of the night, and it's not even a wild take. I'd say probably the most normal take you'd ever see. Now, when looking at both respective fighters' UFC career, now Showdown Bullet Magomedov is 15-0 inside of his professional mixed martial arts career, and Michael Venom Page is currently 22-3 inside of his professional mixed martial arts career. Showdown having 4 fights inside of the UFC, obviously winning all 4 of them, and Michael Venom Page having 2 fights inside of the UFC, winning 1 and then going on to lose the second one. So not a big sample size regarding either fighter. But when looking at both fighters' respective fighting styles and respective strengths and weaknesses, it is safe to say they both have a glaring weakness. But luckily for the viewer, it's the same weakness, and it's the same weakness every striker has ever had, and it's called wrestling. So safe to assume that there would be no Dagestani influence in this fight. I can't see MVP or Shara initiating any sort of a wrestling exchange. But if it had to happen, because you never know what would happen inside the octagon. If it had to happen, then Shara would have the advantage, seeing that his wrestling just feels better than MVP's wrestling. And when looking at both fighters' fights inside of the UFC, in all of their fights, in Shara's 4 fights, in MVP's 2 fights, all of their opponents has tried to initiate a wrestling exchange. And for a simple reason, no one wants to get hit in the face, especially when there's a lot of force and a lot of speed behind what you're getting hit with. So rather than striking with either Shara or with MVP, their opponents would initiate a wrestling exchange and basically push them against the fence, try and wear them out to ensure that whenever they strike, there's not a lot of speed and there's not a lot of power that backs those strikes. So a simple solution. And even though they've both had faced adversity inside of the UFC, Shara has managed to overcome his adversity. And it's safe to say, whenever Shara enters the octagon, he puts on his favorite Gordon Ramsay impression. But he might as well be wearing an apron because the brother cooks the inside of the octagon. When he fought Arman Petrosian, he served Arman up a dish and basically force-fed Arman his dish, shoved it in his face, and the dish is called a spinning back fist. Now, with Arman not being satisfied and his appetite not being satisfied, decided that he would go for seconds, and then he would go for a nap. And that's basically what Shada's fighting style is all about. There's a lot of unpredictability with regards to Shada's fighting style. You might see a spinning back fist, a spinning wheel kick, an axe kick, a weird kick he did when he was on the ground on his back. He basically pressed himself up with his one hand and delivered a kick to his opponent when his opponent was standing. Things you would probably see if you ever played Tekken and you pressed random buttons. Those are the things you would see in a Shada fight. But then moving on to MVP and speaking about unpredictability. When MVP fought Kevin Holland, by the way, who might be regarded as one of the 10 best strikers in the middleweight division, was unable to do anything to MVP. And after the fight, they interviewed Kevin and asked him basically what is his thoughts on the fight. And Kevin alluded to the fact that he's never been so frustrated at fighting someone. Not only due to the fact that he was unable to hit him, but due to the fact that he was unable to predict where MVP would be. And with regards to unable to predict what would be coming his way, whether it would be a jab, whether it be a straight right, whether it be a head kick, you never know. A soothsayer would not be able to see MVP inside of the octagon. The invisible man of the UFC. Now, usually when people fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, they would see and explain Stephen as being a puzzle that needed to be solved, simply due to the fact that you never knew what to expect. It was unpredictable in the way Stephen fought, with regards to when he would close the distance, when he would strike, at what angle his strikes would come at, and basically being able to solve and being able to predict what would be next. And a lot of MVP's fighting style imitates what Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did. And basically MVP took it and also implemented his own style. And there are a lot of similarities between Wonderboy and MVP, both having the karate dominant stand where they basically hop in and out of range, and obviously MVP putting his own spin on that particular fighting style where he hops a lot, where he hops around a lot, and it feels way more explosive when MVP strikes, where Wonderboy was just so calculated in the way that he would set up certain strikes, the way that he would implement certain techniques in order to see whatever his opponent would be able to do with what is coming their way. Now, the same applies to MVP. And with regards to MVP, it just feels like it comes at an incredible speed. Now, with regards to both fighters' weakness, when talking about striking, and a glaring weakness at it, is MVP, even though he beat Kevin Holland in their previous fight, and winning via a unanimous decision, winning via the judges' scorecards, he would most likely not win that way. Right? He has the most knockouts in Bellator's history. He fights, and his fighting style is way more based off of efficiency rather than volume, where everything means that much more. Every punch he throws, every strike he throws means that much more, and would rather be efficient than being justified in quantity. So it is unusual and unlikely for MVP to actually win via going to the judges' scorecard, just because he doesn't rack up significant strikes, where Shada Bullet is the exact opposite, where even though he is efficient, and even though his striking is efficient, he throws a lot of volume. So he will always outperform his opponent with regards to significant strikes. But where Shada's disadvantage basically shows itself, and his weakness with regards to striking, is he is open to be hit. He gets hit a lot. We saw in the Tricoli fight that Tricoli basically caught him with a devastating right hand. And we saw even in the Petrosian fight where Arman Petrosian rocked Shada Bullet and had him up against the cage defending himself. And Do I think that MVP might be able to exploit that? I do. Do I think that Shara Bullet might be able to withstand a punch MVP throws? The man is durable as hell. He's eaten a lot of punches to the head, and it seems like it doesn't phase him as much. Now, it might be that big buffer he has on his face. We would never know. But this fight just basically shouts fight of the night. And I think, honestly, might be in for a real treat. I might be fixated on the television and might end up taping my eyelids to ensure that I don't blink. Let me know in the comment section, who do you think is going to win? Who has the upper hand? And what is going to be the final result of this co-main event?